down for me. Lie down for me. Lie down, lie down, lie down. Were you shot anywhere else?
No, man.
No, just here? That's it?
That's it.
All right. Stay with me. All right.
He ran off, man.
You ran off?
Ran off.
You know how many there were?
There was 4 in the car, man.
4 in the car, huh?
Yeah.
Stay with me. Stay with me. I know it's gonna hurt, okay?
Oh, man.
I'm on.
Thanks for coming along, man.
No problem. Let me see your face real quick.
Man.
Nothing. This is for the doctor's gonna drop you off, okay?
All right, man.
Yeah. What we're about to show you is how to deal with a gunshot wound. So let's say you were just walking by and then all of a sudden an active shooter happened or somebody shot another person, they ran off. So at least now the threat isn't there no more, which is great because you don't have to deal with the threat because there's no time to really be given a lot of medical when you're still trying to deal with a perceived threat. So very first thing we want to do is, as you can tell, I already have gloves on. So it's always important to protect yourself because as great as I want to help this human being, I don't know anything about his previous medical history. So I'm always going to protect myself and I'm going to protect him against me as well. So gloves are always important. And I've now determined that the scene is safe because again, the shooter has already left the area. So after I made sure that the scene is safe and that I have gloves on, I'm going to go up and assess my situation. I see a patient lying down on the ground on their back, which is always great. If in fact they're standing and you see them bleeding or anything, you always want them to lie down on their back at first. This just one helps equalize pressure, okay? And 2, if in fact they were to go unconscious, they're already on the ground, so I don't have to worry about them falling and then potentially having a head injury. So this is always great to start. I want them on their back. I've noticed that there's a gunshot wound to the upper arm. This could be a bad day because 1, we don't know what bullets do when it hits the body. And 2, there is a major artery up here in the upper part of their arm. So from this, I've actually determined that I want to go ahead and do a tourniquet. Now again, when it comes to a bleed situation in real life, that is more of a judgment call. If I saw someone get shot in the upper part of their arm, I would immediately do a tourniquet because I know for a fact I didn't hurt them and I know they're also not going to bleed to death on my watch now. So nothing about this is wrong medically. You can always articulate what you have done and this is always going to be a good way to save their life. So this is our tourniquet right here. What we're going to do is we're going to open our tourniquet up. This is a Cat 2 tourniquet and I'm going to tell you my 3 rules real quick on actually putting a tourniquet on someone. So step 1, I always want to go high and tight. There's no need to go 2 to 3 inches above a joint. Even if the wound was down here, I would still go high and tight because I don't ever want to try and guess 2 to 3 inches in a high stress situation. And there's no difference in shutting this portion of the arm down versus shutting this one down. So I always tell people to go high and tight because it's a better reference point. Step 2, once I actually have the tourniquet on high and tight, I always am capable of doing another turn. And the reason I say that is if in fact we do a proper singe with this tourniquet when we put them on, it should be 2 or 3 turns and we've achieved the stopping of the bleed. So we've done what we needed to do. But in a high stress situation, maybe you don't singe it down all the way. So now all of a sudden we might have to do another turn. So we can always do another turn. And rule number 3, this one is extremely important. Once a tourniquet is on, it never comes off. We always keep the tourniquet on. The only person that's going to take that tourniquet off is the trauma surgeon when he or she feels comfortable that they can control the bleed. So once we put it on, again, it's going to go high and tight. We can always do another turn and we never ever take the tourniquet off. If anything, all we ever do is reassess the tourniquet to make sure that it hasn't come undone if we ever had to move our patient or to make sure that the patient themselves hasn't actually messed with it. Because it can be painful. And if just because you put this tourniquet on and they're saying that it hurts, it doesn't mean that you did it wrong. Okay, tourniquets are actually supposed to be very painful because you have now decided to shut off all blood flow to this extremity. So we'd open it all the way up. You can put a tourniquet on this way. Just be mindful of this when you do it. And what I mean by that is this. If in fact I decide to put it on this way, I now have to lift my patient's arm up. So if the arm was broken or anything of that nature, I don't want to manipulate a joint. So I can also always put a tourniquet on fully open. So I can open the tourniquet all the way up. And if I have to, I can then shimmy underneath. Okay, so I can start from here and then sort of shimmy underneath and not have to really move my patient as much. And then I take this red tap. I go through the clip, and as I start to put it on my patient, I'm high and tight. I'm not on the shoulder. I don't want to try and tourniquet this big block right here. So I'm high and tight right next to the armpit. I'm going to push all the way in. I don't want any gap here. So what I like to do is push in to the muscle and then really rip on this. So I'm gonna push and singe down, and then I'm gonna start really wrapping this around, just right here. And then I start my turn. When I start my turn, my official turn starts when I take all the slack out of this windlass right here. So I feel it like starting to splint in my hand. Now we can officially start our turn. So if we go here, that's one official turn, okay? And then if we do 2 turns, oh, now we're really going. So I would already give another turn, but just for training purposes, because I don't want to actually hurt my role player here, I'm gonna go ahead and latch this down in. I always wanna make sure that this windlass is inside this windlass clip. That's very important because this right here is not doing anything for my patient, all right? So I wanna make sure it snaps into place, and then I'm gonna take this foxtail, all right, and I'm gonna put it in between this windlass clip. I'm actually gonna put it underneath because now my patient is lying on it, and then I strap over. Now right here it does say time, but I actually like to write the time on my patient's forehead just because this could get bloodied up. Maybe they can't see it all the way, but I know my patient's gonna go to the hospital with their head. I just wanna make sure that there's no more blood flow. If in fact the first tourniquet wasn't working, I can always put another tourniquet on, all right? And of course, as we previously mentioned with blood, you can see red come up on our gloves very easily versus black. So this will be a great way of actually stopping bleeding from a gunshot wound to the arm while applying a tourniquet. And from here, I always want to make sure my patient stays conscious so I can treat the shock if necessary. So after I've applied the tourniquet and I've stopped any life-saving interventions, I can now do a more detailed check to see if they were shot anywhere else, and then I can continue to talk to my patient the entire time.